Imagine Punch, the Japanese macaque, became a trader, and someone asked him, "Punch, if you could only keep one indicator on your chart, which one would you choose?" Knowing Punch, I already have a guess: Bollinger Bands. But here's the interesting part. I don't think Punch would choose Bollinger Bands because they tell him when to buy or sell. In fact, that's exactly why I like them. Most traders look at Bollinger Bands and immediately think upper band equals overbought, lower band equals oversold, and then they try to predict the reversal. But what if that's not the most useful question? What if the better question is simply, where is price right now? That's a completely different way of looking at the chart. Bollinger Bands give us three simple references: upper, middle, lower. The upper and lower bands give us extremes. The middle gives us an average reference. And that creates something I find extremely useful: context. Because price doesn't exist in isolation. A price of $70,000 doesn't automatically mean expensive, and $60,000 doesn't automatically mean cheap. The more important question is, expensive or cheap relative to what? That's where context starts becoming interesting. Imagine price is moving upward. It reaches the upper extreme. Does that automatically mean sell? No, absolutely not. And this is where many traders make the mistake. They see an extreme and immediately try to predict a reversal. But an extreme isn't necessarily an entry. It's a place to pay attention. Then something interesting happens. Price starts reacting. Maybe the movement changes. Maybe momentum slows. Maybe the structure begins behaving differently. And now you have a completely different question. What is the market actually showing me? That's the question I care about. Not what do I want price to do, but what is price actually doing? And this is why I don't want 10 indicators fighting for attention on my screen. Because sometimes more information doesn't create more clarity, it creates more opinions. One indicator says buy, another says sell, another says wait, and suddenly your chart looks like a control room. Punch would probably just stare at it like, "Bro, what are you doing?" And maybe Punch has a point, because an indicator is only useful when you understand its job. For me, Bollinger Bands have a very simple job. They help establish location and context. They don't predict the future. They don't guarantee a reversal. They don't tell me that price must go up or down, and they certainly don't make a trade profitable. They simply help me ask better questions. Where is price? Where has it been developing? How is it behaving around the extremes? And then I let the market provide the next piece of information. That's a much healthier relationship with an indicator. You don't ask the indicator, "What should I do?" You ask, "What should I observe?" And there's another reason I like this approach, because when price moves from one extreme toward another, you can start seeing something bigger. You can begin to identify a reference range. And once you have a reference range, the behavior of price inside that range becomes much more interesting. Is it expanding? Is it contracting? Is it overlapping? Is one side becoming less effective? Is the market developing completely different behavior? Now you're no longer staring at an indicator. You're studying the market itself. And that's the real lesson. The power isn't necessarily in having the perfect indicator. The power is in knowing what question the indicator is helping you answer. For Punch, maybe it's Bollinger Bands. For another trader, maybe it's something completely different. But if your indicator is constantly telling you what to think, you may eventually stop observing the market. And that's dangerous, because trading isn't about finding something that predicts the future perfectly. It's about building a process that helps you make better decisions when the future is uncertain. So, if Punch really became a trader, I still think he'd choose Bollinger Bands. But I don't think he'd use them to predict. I think he'd use them to observe. And maybe that's the real question for you. Are your indicators helping you see the market, or are they simply giving you another opinion to follow? If you want more trading stories, market structure, and trading mindset without the usual buy here, sell here noise, subscribe to Buys Positive Digital Rise. Positive mindset, precise trading, more consistent profit.